Hello and welcome to ClausenWorld. In today's video, I'm going to be going over a few things that I picked up in the mail and this weekend, a mini haul, as well as I might do a small harvest, and I might do a little bit of cleanup. If you've seen my previous clip or small video, you'll know what my weekend was like. I hope you had a good weekend, different from mine, but I'm going to be doing a tiny bit of cleanup. So that's what's going to be in the video today. I hope you stick around. I hope you enjoy it. So I'll see you in the garden. I was expecting another package in the mail, but it didn't come in, so there'll be another haul coming, a very small one, but another haul coming. I went to the Dollar Tree and I got some stuff in the mail that I wanted to just share with you guys. I went to the Dollar Tree Saturday in between all the rainfall, and I found a couple of things that I didn't expect them to have, because at this time of the year usually the store is completely wiped out of gardening supplies. But I found a couple of zinnias. Now this is the Lilliput mixed color, and I thought it was really pretty because it has a beautiful orange, kind of like a orangish red, a white, and a pink, more like a fuchsia color, and I thought that was pretty. And dropping everything on the ground. And I found also another zinnia. This one is the Giants of California mix, and again, I like those bright, vibrant colors, and this has that stark pop of orange, yellow, and that really bright fuchsia pink in it as well, so I thought those were pretty. So just got a couple of packs of those. I have my bag down here. I haven't even unpackaged any of it. I was waiting for you guys. I picked up a couple more of the buckets. I will be using these to plant either flowers or food in. I haven't decided which just yet. They didn't have any red, so I got black. I know black is probably not the best color in the garden because it'll probably hold heat, but it might be good during the winter time. I don't know, maybe. Let's see. And then they had a few things that I was really surprised to see. I had actually put these items in my shopping cart online for Amazon, and I happened to walk past these and I thought, oh wow. Now these are those little garden hooks that you can hang planters from. I picked up a couple of these. These are the large ones, I think. They seemed like they were larger than the others. And let's see. That's the same thing. Then they had some smaller ones, the metal hooks. I got a couple of these. I have hanging baskets somewhere in my shed. I just haven't found them yet. I bought some hanging baskets, I want to say at the end of last season, and they're in there somewhere. I've been stockpiling stuff in my shed. So yeah, don't judge me. And then I found a couple more of these. These are the little plant hangers, and I know you've seen them in the garden. I have a couple over there that are on the little privacy fence, and I was surprised to see these there, so I picked up just a couple of these as well. The ones I have up there are really rusty. I may end up taking those down, giving them a good scrub, painting them and putting them back. We'll see. But I thought this was a pretty nice find. You can never have enough of these. And they came with screws, so I have to make sure I don't lose these screws. Alright, and there was something else. Oh, there we go. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I have compost bins. I have a compost bin that's nothing but leaf mulch. I have a compost bin that is nothing but food waste, and I have a compost bin that is a mixture of food waste as well as chicken manure and guinea pig bedding and guinea pig manure. Well, in my food waste compost bin, I use a compost thermometer. And I bought another one because I didn't want to use the same compost thermometer that I use in my just plain old food waste bin. I didn't want to use the same one in the compost bin that I have manure in, just in case there's cross-contamination. Because if it's not finished yet, if it's still hot manure, I didn't want to use my compost thermometer in it, because I didn't want to, like I said, cross-contaminate. But I want to show you guys, if you all are interested in composting, it's important that you use a compost thermometer to check the temperature of your compost. Your compost should get to a particular temperature in order to cook. And I know I'm probably explaining this all wrong, but because I'm new to composting, but it has to get to the correct temperature in order to cook down to be the best compost. I know you all have seen my compost, my very first attempt at compost, and I've got tomatoes now everywhere. I mean, it seems like at least 5 or 6 sections of my potted garden has a tomato. In my worm casting bin, I don't know, I think it's squash growing in there. So you need a really hot compost in order to kill down all the pathogens and anything that could be growing in there that's not good to put on your food, especially if you're using a manure. There we go. And so I bought this compost thermometer, and I love it. I love to be able to go in there, stick this in my compost, and see how hot it is. Now, during the summer times here, it gets to be over 100 degrees, 100 plus degrees for days on end. It's a really nice long thermometer, and I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I hope you can read it. There you go. Try to hold it still, but it lets you know whether or not your compost is steady, if it's active, or if it's hot, or if it's just completely cold and you need to start all over. And I love knowing that my compost is either steady, active, or hot. And hot is over 140 degrees. I don't know if you guys can see that. So it's important to make sure that your compost stays in the hot zone and I can put what I'll do is I'll put a link in my description box below, because again, I'm still learning compost. This is my first year actually doing compost, and I'm having a ball learning. I'm having a ball using it. But I will put a link down below so you can have more detailed information if you're thinking about getting into composting, because it's good for the environment. It's good. It's a good way to reinvigorate your garden. If you're using a lot of raw in your kitchen, like vegetables, onions, those vegetables. But if you're using a lot of raw vegetables in your kitchen, and you have a lot of fruit and veg waste, instead of throwing all that away, you can use it, compost it up, and then put it back in your garden. Mix it in with your garden soil, in your garden beds. It's good. It's good for the environment. It's good for your garden. Is all I can say about that. But yes, a backyard compost thermometer. I've been enjoying this. Again, I got this off of Amazon. It's my second one, and it's the company is called Real Temp, and I will put a link in my description box below so that you guys can get a lot more detailed information on this, because I am still learning, and I want to make sure that I give you the best information that I possibly can. The other two things that I want to show you is reading material, because I am learning about composting and different ways to grow your garden and save seed. I bought 2 books. Now, I just got one today, and I've had one for a couple of weeks. I've been trying to hold off showing you guys these things, because I was waiting for more of my haul to come in, but that's okay. I'll show you some other stuff later. But I bought 2 books, and they're by the same young man. His name is Hugh Richards, and he lives in Wales over in the UK. And as you can see, I've got tabs in this book. I've had this book for a couple of weeks, and I have been just devouring it. And this is part of one of the reasons why I wanted to put down a garden that was for free for others to have that may not be as blessed as me or you. And when I got this book and started reading it, Grow Food for Free, it just shows you different principles of how you can grow food for free, how you can barter for food, how to grow and make a compost bin. I mean, it's some of everything in here. He has beautiful photos, absolutely amazing information. Talks about setting up a vegetable garden, producing compost, sourcing seeds, how to grow perennials, how to grow annuals, fighting pest and disease, which is what many of us are about ready to actually have to deal with and or are dealing with right now, depending on where you live. It talks about looking ahead. I'm actually in the midst of looking ahead. Like I said, I've been devouring this book. It is May, and I will soon be sowing seed in seed trays for my summer garden, as well as trying to figure out how to grow a winter garden, because I'd like to do a winter garden this year as well. And then of course there's a journal in the back, so you can write down all of your my goodness, successes and failures this year. Like I said, when I first started my channel 2 weeks ago, that I'm going to bring you the real for real. I don't know everything. I am learning. I've been gardening ever since I was 7 with my grandmother, but I started seriously gardening for myself about 7 or so years ago when I lost my last grandmother. And so I am trying to relearn some things and get more proficient in areas where I'm not proficient, and just make it work, because I didn't know it at the time, but definitely now making a garden work is important. It's vital, and everyone should be doing it. But yes, this book, and I'm not promoting that you buy the book, but I'm just letting you know what I'm reading, and if you're interested in buying the book, I got it on Amazon.com. And I'm having a ball digesting this information. Now, I just got his latest book. Then again, I might have bought them out of order. When I saw this one, Grow Food for Free, I was like, yes, that's what I need to know right now. So I bought that one first, and this one just came today. I just took it out of the box right before I turned the camera on, and it's Veg in One Bed. Now, many of you are growing vegetables in gardening beds. I have a small gardening bed, just a section of the yard that I cut up to put food in, but primarily I am growing food in pots, in buckets, because I am currently living in a rented home. I haven't bought my land yet, working on that. So in the meantime, me selling my house, living in a rented home, and looking to purchase another home, I'm looking at how I can maximize growing, be that in a bed or in a potted structure. And I want to be able to not only have one thing in a pot, but multiple things in a pot. And if you've watched my video or any of my videos, you've seen that my garden is a potted garden. I have a number of different pots everywhere, and I have more than one thing in those pots, from fruits to vegetables, more than one thing packed in the pot. So this evening, once I get off of talking to you guys and showing you what I'm getting up to, I'm going to be delving into this book and taking a look and see what he's talking about as far as Veg in One Bed, and see what I can learn from this. It's important to try to educate yourself to the best of your ability, because yes, gardening can be easy for some, but for others, gardening is a challenge. You just can't go outside in your backyard and go, ooh, okay, there's some grass, ooh, there's some dirt up under that grass, okay, let me move this grass and kill that away, ooh, and then put some seeds in that dirt and then throw some water on it. It's not that easy for everybody. So some of us, we have to learn by watching, learn by listening, learn by picking up a book or two. And these two, since I do watch a number of different YouTube videos here in the US as well as in Europe, I'm learning a lot. I'm learning how to not only grow in my zone, but to share seed, save seed, and grow multiple things in a small area. So that is the small haul for today. Let me move on to the next thing in the garden. Here is the amaryllis that my mom gave me. If you watch my previous clip video, snippet video, you'll know what happened to it. But I am trying to cover up the roots and feed it a little bit just in case it's in shock. And if you wonder why I don't know if you guys can see it, if you wonder why I have this bottle contraption in here, I use this as a self-watering bottle. I have holes in the bottom of it, and I want to say I showed you guys that in a previous video, but that is one of my self-watering. Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. I showed you guys in a previous video. So I use that to make sure that it stays water. So what I'm doing here is I'm just filling in the soil that was knocked out by the storm. Now this soil is nothing more than coconut coir, vermiculite, black cow, and some bone meal and blood meal, because I really would love for it to give me a flower. It was working so hard on this one little flower, and I don't know if you guys can see, but the flower was snapped off due to the storm. So yeah, I'm still feeling the pain of that. I really am. My mom gave this to me, I want to say 2 Christmases ago, and she had it in the house somewhere, and she lost sight of it. And when she found it, she goes, "Oh, I have this bulb that's been sitting in the house and it's probably dead, but I know you can bring it back to life. Here, take it." And she gave me this bulb, and I opened it up, and it was drying out. It was on its last little leg, and I said, "Yeah, Mom, you did a number on this one." And she goes, "Oh, you can make it work. You can bring it back to life. I know you can." So I did what I did, and here it is. It for a while I thought it was a goner, but it came back for me, and it has not flowered at all. I have done the exact same thing, giving it food, giving it water. I've actually moved it 3 times because I thought maybe it was the light. Maybe it didn't like where it was living. It didn't like the sun. It's something it wasn't getting. And lo and behold, this was the last location that I placed it, because I figured this would be a good spot. Now I know that if it's going to rain and we're predicting a major thunderstorm, that it's best that I take it off of this table and maybe place it on the ground, or shield it by moving it over into my area where I have my elephant ears. Because I have elephant ears. I'll have to show you guys Elephant Ear Lane. I'm going to put some of this old soil that is on top. It has wood chip in it, just to keep the soil moist. Right. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of water. The soil underneath was still moist from all the rain, but I'm going to give it just a tiny bit of water. All right, let me show you Elephant Ear Lane. This is back behind the water barrel. And I know I showed you guys the elephant ears once before. There was I think that's a volunteer squash that popped up in there. I've got to take a look at that. It wasn't supposed to be there, so I really haven't been paying it too much mind. But the elephant ears have come up nicely. There is still one pot, I want to say. No, there are 2 pots. Let me show you. There's one right here. The elephant ear hasn't really come up. There was a tiny bit of growth, but I don't know if you guys can see it, but I don't know if it's gonna do much. And then there's another one over here in between, same thing. Now these were exotic elephant ears that were in these 2 pots. They were more along the line of a really dark green with a purple backside. And so I don't know if those two survived. I may end up digging around in the pot just to see. And this, of course, is my poor little bitty rhubarb. And you can see, remember I planted those seeds? There's a little rhubarb coming up right there. Don't know if you guys can see that. I planted a couple of rhubarb seeds in there. So I'm going to give this a little water. I don't see any rhubarb coming up in that pot, but it takes a little bit of time. All right, let's find something else to get into in this garden, shall we? It has been a minute since I've shown you my compost bin. It's a little dry. I haven't been messing with it much. So I'm just going to put a little bit of water in it, and I'm going to take a look at it. Now, when you are making compost in a trash can, you have to be very careful with how much water you put in. And I probably should have looked at it before I put that water in it, because it seems like it's really wet. So that's no good. I'm going to have to put some more brown material in it and dry it out. And that's bizarre because I have not put any water in this in a long while. I mean, I haven't touched this in weeks. But this is compost. This is the manure. That's the chicken manure. That is the guinea pig manure, and the guinea pig bedding, as well as leaves and food waste. It does not have a putrid smell. I don't smell anything, to be honest with you. I'm going to have to make sure that I put some dry leaves in here so that it doesn't start to stink, because I don't smell anything. Nope. Nope. No stinky. And that's good. It's not supposed to stink. I think I am rubbing off on my neighbors. I'm looking over into my neighbor's yard, and they have not only cleaned up their backyard and got it all nice and pretty and put a table and a new barbecue grill out there, but they have actually planted what looks like 2 tomato plants on their back porch. So proud. They always ask me, how's your garden? How's your garden? I'm like, oh, it's doing okay. It's all right. Thank you for asking. But yes, I'm going to put some brown material in here to make sure that this doesn't stay this moist, because this is too moist. So I'm going to get some leaves. You guys don't want to have to see that. And I'm going to toss some leaves in here to kind of dry it up. But before I do that, the reason why I came in here is I want to show you guys my compost thermometer. It doesn't feel that warm today. I think it was only in the, don't even let me get to lying, y'all. I don't even know what the weather was today, because I've been in the house all day long. I've only come to the door a couple times to let the dog out, so yeah. But this is what you do. You take your thermometer and you put it to where your thermometer is like halfway in your compost, and then you let it sit for a little while. And if it's active, hot, or just steady, it'll say so. It'll indicate. So I'm going to let this sit for a little bit, and I'm going to go take a look at some other things in the garden. I'm going to take you along with me, and then we're going to come back to this, and we're going to see if that gauge has moved at all. All right, I have pulled another potato out of the potato patch. And one thing I learned is this bag does not hold up. So if you find yourself at the Tractor Supply and you're trying to buy these potato sacks, which is what they said they were, they're supposed to be just for holding potatoes once you've harvested them. They're not meant to grow potatoes in. And I was just trying an experiment. What I found is that the bottoms have given way. So, and the slugs like them for some strange reason. So I am going to try to figure out how to get these potatoes, if there are any in here, out of here without making too much of a mess, because I'm not trying to lose soil. Soil is precious and I don't want to lose any. So let's see, let me take off my reading glasses because I can't see with them on right now. All right, I just put it in my tote, and it was an ordeal trying to get it in here. Now, I don't know if you heard me talk about it in my potato video. If you haven't, please go back to that potato video. This is nothing more than weed barrier right here. And because I wanted to make sure that no sunlight was getting in, I stuffed a little bit of cardboard around the sides as well. Again, all an experiment, just trying to see what I could make happen. And I'm hoping I don't have any surprises that will make me scream, but I might find a few. I did see a big old slug, and I do not like slugs. Unlike some of the YouTubers that I watch, I'm not picking up slugs, I'm not picking up worms with my hands. See, slugs. Y'all almost heard me scream. I don't do it. I love playing in the garden, but there's just some things I don't want any parts of. I know they don't bite. That's not the point for me. I don't like it. All right, so I'm just gonna pick this up like this and let the contents fall where they may inside of the bucket, and just get rid of that bag, because that bag is no good. And I can see there's still some slugs hanging on in there, bad slugs. This is a slug magnet. So the takeaway here is, you don't do that. That's a slug magnet. So, and there's a big old nasty slug right there on the top. Ew. He gonna make me pick him up, knowing I don't want to do it. No sir, not today. All right, so I am just going to just try to shake these potatoes loose off of this vine here and see what I've got. And I am very pleasantly surprised. For a second, I thought that was something a squirrel put in here, because I totally forgot. I went to my very first seed haul this year, and I walked away with one purple potato. This is my very first ever purple potato haul. Ooh, y'all, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I have a little bucket over here with some water. I'm just gonna place it right there, and I'm gonna place these potatoes in this bucket. And they don't seem to have any damage. I'm gonna have to put my reading glasses on for that though. Jeez. My life. They don't seem to have any damage. Even though they're slugs, I see there was some ants. And this soil is moist. And normally you see ants if the soil is really dry. But I guess they were trying to figure their life out. That's a weirdo. Looks like a peanut, doesn't it? I'm just gonna put that down in there. If you leave even a little bitty potato like that in your dirt, you're gonna have potatoes. So I am just going through here, and I know you guys are like, just hurry up and get in there, ClausenWorld. I want to see what's in the bucket. I know, but suspense. It's the suspense. And that was a seed potato right there. It's all ate up. Look nasty. I am so just in awe. I've never had a purple potato before. And so I'm excited to see what they taste like. Wow. All right. Okay, I'm done. I'm done holding y'all hostage. All right. All right. Let me take those glasses off. I may have to go get a trowel. I'm real serious about not touching stuff I don't want to touch, y'all. For real. Ah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, I have surprises in this dirt, and I don't like surprises, man. I just don't. I don't like creepy crawlies, and I like being in the garden, but there's just certain things I don't like. And if I can avoid it at all costs, you better believe that's what's happening. Okay. Yeah, this bag, yeah, I'm gonna have to go get a trowel or something, because my mind can't do it. It won't let me do it. I'll be right back. I got my plastic trowel instead of my favorite metal one, because I don't want to stab into my potatoes. I don't want to ruin them. But I also don't want to pick up spiders and ants and slugs. Potato! Now this is going to be a different potato, if I'm not mistaken, from the last haul. If you have not seen my potato video, I recommend that you go back and take a look at it. I mean, it's not, it may not be, you know, indie movie worthy, but it's mine. I own it. I'm loving it. But that was a different potato. I think I mentioned that I bought 2 different types of potatoes. I bought a English Nicola and an English Charlotte. That just looks like, wow. All I can say is wow. And I bought a German Butterball. And the surprising bit to that is, when I got the potatoes, they weren't labeled at all. So I have no idea what's what. And so, yeah, I just put them in the ground. Well, actually not in the ground. I put them in a bag, because I don't put food in the ground if I can help it. And I know, before you say, well, you got some stuff in the ground. I do have some stuff in the ground. That was an experiment this year. But generally, no, I don't. And this was a russet potato, a piece of a russet potato that my mom gave me that it had roots and shoots on it, but apparently it didn't like its life, so it didn't do anything. So yeah, that goes over there. Matter of fact, I'm going to put that in the compost bin, because I don't like throwing stuff away. And let's see, got something down here that feels weird. Like, this must have been another potato, because that looks like the remnants of a potato. It looks like dirt, but that's like the remnants. That's pieces of potato skin. Ugh. It's like, what do you call those? Beetles. Yeah, I see beetles. Yeah, not happy. Not happy. See, that's why I went and got the trowel, man. I cannot be picking up stuff. And I say that because before I sold my home, I had a really beautiful big back garden. I mean, my in-ground garden was amazing. It was massive. And I was out there one day digging around in the soil, planting stuff. I mean, I had 7-foot tall sunflowers. And I was out there digging around. Lo and behold, I stuck my hand in the soil, moving something around, I think. I think I was pulling weeds. And I came out with a snake in my hand. And you talk about feeling like, Lord, help me, Jesus. Screaming. I was screaming, and I threw it and I ran. It ended up being a dirt snake from what I was told, but because it was all brown, it was not very big. It just small enough to pick up in my hand. It wrapped around my hand. It draped my hand. That was enough for me. I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm not putting my hands in the dirt. Woo, no. Now the reason why I'm going kind of slow is because I'm looking for these little bitty nuggets like this. And I think I'm going to have to pour the soil out because I don't want to miss any of these tiny little potatoes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enrich this soil, and I'm going to put it back in the garden, and I'm going to plant something in this soil. I don't know what just yet, but I'm going to lay it out, let the creepy crawlies get out of it first. You know, I'm going to take this weed barrier and lay it out, get the slugs off of it, let the creepy crawlies get out of the soil, and then I'm going to repurpose it and reuse it because I don't want to have an empty section of soil that doesn't have something growing in it. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to grow yet, but I kind of sort of have an idea. It is May, and now is a good time to grow cucumbers, corn, if you like cowpeas, eggplant. I did sow some eggplant seeds, but nothing ever came of those seeds, so I think I'm going to try that again. But I have to just do a little bit of research to make sure that I can grow any number of those things in this soil because this soil contains potatoes. I think that might be it, y'all. I'm so disappointed, but that's okay. Well, I'm not disappointed because I got something out of one potato, and a little bit of something compared to a whole lot of nothing is good. I had one tiny little bitty potato. It was not even as long as my finger, and it was just a tiny little purple potato, and I am so surprised that it gave me a handful of potatoes. Now this is enough for 2 meals, 2 small meals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, because I know y'all tired of looking at me stirring around this soil. But I'm going to go, because I didn't think about it. This was an impromptu grab. And I'm going to go get the scale, and I'm going to weigh these potatoes and show you guys how much I harvested like I did in the last video. So every time I harvest potatoes, I will show you how much I harvested. I was expecting a little bit more, but it is what it is. This is what the Lord gave me. And I can't see anymore, but these potatoes kind of look like soil, to be honest with you. And I don't see any tiny little bitty baby potatoes in here. So I'm going to call it. And I'm going to go and get the scale and show you how many. I think that might be a pound of potatoes. And if that's a pound of potatoes, I think it's good. I think 1 pound of potatoes out of 1 potato is good. Now I know the white potatoes, that's not a pound, but again, a pound of potatoes out of 1 potato that you put in, no matter what kind of potato it is, to me that's a good harvest, especially since I grow everything in a small container, be that a bag or a bucket or a pot. So let me get that scale and let's see what we have here. Not quite a pound, but still some good eating. So that is the second potato haul. Let me move my camera. Having some difficulty here. Let's see. That is my second potato haul. And those are the potatoes. I think they look pretty good. Here we go again. Exciting. I laid the wheat barrier down so that the birds can get a hold of these slugs, but just in case they think they can manage to find their way to my potted plants, I am going to sprinkle some Epsom salt around this weed barrier. The one thing I have found that kills slugs is Epsom salt. So I just sprinkle it where I don't want them to be. So I'm going to leave this here. And I also have a really big bullfrog that lives in the garden. I don't know where he is exactly. He's around. So yeah. Hope I wasn't in you guys' way. But I just sprinkled a little bit of Epsom salt around that weed barrier. I'm going to leave that there. And hopefully the birds will pick off those slugs. And if the birds don't eat slugs, I know the bullfrog will. So he'll be out as soon as the sun goes down, because he knows I flick on the back porch light, and that draws all the bugs that he loves to chomp on. So let's see if I have any other activities to show you guys in the garden before I call it a night. Let's go see what else I have. Before I call this video done for the evening, I wanted to come back and show you all the compost. I went ahead on and put some dry leaves in it and tossed it up a little bit, aerated it to make sure that it didn't begin to stink, because it was very, very moist. And that's not what you want with your compost. You don't want it to be so wringing wet that you can tell that it's wet. So what I'm seeing is even though when I turned it there was some warmth coming from the bottom, what I'm noticing is that it's not very hot. It just says steady. So it's not extremely hot. It's only in the 80, 81, 82 degree range. So it needs to get a lot hotter before it's done. And it does look like it's almost done, because the soil is completely black, and it is broken down compared to what it was when I first put it in here. But I'm going to leave this for the rest of the summer. I'm going to take this out probably in early fall. I'm going to let it sit through all of the hot summer 100-degree weather and make sure that it's really cooked down, because my last batch, my very first batch, as you all know, I got tomatoes everywhere. So I want to make sure that this is inoculated and it's hot enough and it's cooked down to where I'm not having the same problem next year when I use this. So from ClausenWorld, that's it for me, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it's not too long, and I will see you in the next one.